begun. Saturday afternoon exhibition hockey, 5-a-side to start this second. And a newcomer in net for the Catamounts will be Zoe Cleach. Cleach, no career stats to speak of, coming at you from the, I always get this wrong, Ottawa, Ontario. Obviously that's easy, but it's the 18 Wildcats. And I promise you I'm not saying that right. My daughter has to correct me all the time.
Yeah.
Second period underway. We get our first look at Cleach. Cleach standing at 5'7", left-handed catching, which is standard. Bounces in. She sticks that one aside, and she's quickly into the game, just about 23 seconds deep.
It's always nice when you're coming in cold early in the period to see some rubber early on.
And it'll be interesting to see as the season goes on, as the Catamounts manage somehow to stay on side there. Chance for the Purple Knights. They had a breaker going toward the net. They just couldn't get the puck to her. Now Kokovic with a fancy move. Kokovic angles a Havana shot. That's a save made by Lavender. Chipped down in the zone. Dianzaris will take over. But it'll be interesting to see who emerges goaltending-wise as the season goes on. I think you'd like to say that the redshirt junior Ellie Simmons will be given the chances, but she's played just 11 previous games in her career. So we'll kind of see just where that goes as the season goes on. From the slot, Scott missed it just wide. Bujarski tried to poke it out in front. Bujarski back to the point. Dianzaris sends it right back down. Bujarski wraps it around. Taken there by Panicciulli. Panicciulli trying to center it. Weather it, stick that aside. Panicciulli gets it back. Chris crosses to the point now for Scott. Scott, fanned on the cross pass. Keeps it, top of the circle shot. Never got through, deflected. Bodine keeps it in. Good pressure by the Catamounts. That one skitters just wide. Well, I'm not sure Lavender saw that one all the way through.
Might be how you have to beat her, though. Everything she's seen, she's been stopping so far.
Catamounts generated the 16 shots on goal, but they attempted 36 in that first period, and to just 4 on the other side. Chance here. Center one skitters just wide. George. Retro. O'Hara. Catamounts can't control it. It's back out through center by St. Mike's. Lewis for O'Hara, 2-on-1 with Retro. O'Hara in, waits, O'Hara fires, pad save made, rebound, George scores! Brooke George, third player high, pounds home the rebound, and the Catamounts have broken the seal.
The East Montpelier, Vermont native, and Brooke George, we were talking about earlier in the game how great it was that she was jumping up into the play, and it was going to take a greasy goal or rebound. George is all over that one, and Lavender no chance there, made the initial save, but George able to pounce on the rebound.
Brooke George, one previous career goal in 64 games for the Catamounts. Right place, right time for her following that play. 2-on-1, good job by O'Hara to keep it and fire that shot and put it in a place where she knew she was going to generate a rebound, low and off the pad. And it did just that.
You're right before the goal, you're talking about all the shot attempts. Just good attack mindset for Vermont so far in this game.
Now, there's an instinct when you're 2-on-1 like that to maybe, if you're not going to pass, try to pick a corner or fire at 5-hole. But sometimes the most basic thing is the best thing. Fire a shot that you know you're going to have help. On that far side, so you go wide side. She's got to kick it out. Lavender does her job. That's a hard rebound to control. And it creates the chaos that leads to the first goal. Into the high slot. Hemp shifts, chips over top of the net off a body out in front. Oh, Catamounts almost made it 2. Misled shot. That went off the body and ended up wide. St. Mike's can't get it clear. Lloyd Howe keeps it in. Hemp off her body. Lloyd Howe again chips it in deep. Taken by Brochu. Brochu back to the point. Bodine keeps it in. Cross ice pass, Dianzaris. D'Anzaris. For Skoda, back to D'Anzaris. Cross-ice Podine. Podine back to D'Anzaris straight away. Fires a shot, deflected, pad saved by Lavender. D'Anzaris. Podine. Catamounts buzzing again, leading 1-0, trying to get 2. Skoda into the traffic. Havana with a backhander. Lavender makes the save, and she hangs on.
Great change of direction from Lavender to kind of push post to post to stretch out and stop this. But again, great puck movement by UVM. I've loved what D'Anzaris has shown here in this game. But then Havana right on the rebound. She's been all over the ice. Lavender, you're just going to tip your cap to her and the save she makes there.
Lavender is left-handed. That's in the back of the net. George from the point. Shot high and gloved by Lavender.
George from that right point. She's been involved. Not afraid to kind of pinch and jump up into the play on that goal. She was kind of crashing on the rush, but a couple of ozone stretches where she's jumped into action.
Panachuli behind the net. Carries. Works it back to the point. Taken there by Zarconi. Back to Panachuli in the left circle. Wheels it back and finds George right point. Cross ice. Zarconi was pinching in. Able to recover in time to keep it in. Behind the net for Sophie Scott. Scott defended there by Fitzgibbon. Fitzgibbon able to win that puck battle briefly up the wall, and George takes over at center. All right, it's been a minute since St. Mike's has seen the offensive side of the red line here. Jarvis sweeps it in deep. Brooke George has the Catamount goal. Bojarski sends that one in. Taken by Carpenter. Carpenter off the wall. Hemp with a good pinch keeps it in. Trying to work it in deep. Nice play by Retram to spike that one down before it got clear. Catamounts continue to cycle. Back to the point for Hemp. Hemp. Nice move. Kokovic lays off Lewis with a drive, and that's blocked aside by Lavender. O'Hara up the half wall. Lewis backhands it to Hemp. Hemp keeps it in deep. O'Hara able to take. Little stop-start move trying to feather it to Lewis. Lewis eventually comes in. Able to take away on the backhand. Lewis has Kokovic at the point. She calls for it. Gets it on the stick right back to Lewis. Lewis in the high slot. One-timer. Hemp with a drive. That's saved. Lewis on the rebound. High and wide. Kokovic pinch again. Cleared out by St. Mike's. And this will be good enough for icing.
Well, I've really liked what Kokovic has brought teammates for almost point-blank chances.
Julia Musbled to take this face off. Has Matson and Lloyd Howe with her. Matson off the curl, fired into traffic, never got through on goal. Catamounts D'Anzaris to the rebound first of the point. Works it for Podine. Cross-stop pass. Matson time and space with a shot that went off the skate of the Purple Knight defender. Giarillo got in the way of that one and stopped a really good chance by the Catamounts. D'Anzaris up ahead for Matson. Matson across the line. Lloyd Howe cut it in, trying to get it to her. Carpenter blocked that right back for the Catamounts, though Podine had that one just a little bit too late picking up on it. Has to chase it back out to center for D'Anzaris. Up the middles for Scott. Scott fires and saves made by Lavender. Well, Lavender's been terrific. D'Anzaris a shot. That's deflected. Rebound loose. Another save. May have gone off the pipe. Bojarski came crashing in and cashed in on a rebound and may have ended up going off the netminder and then the pipe. Bojarski, quick shot. That's high. And Julie let that one rip. Catamounts are buzzing. Zarconi couldn't play that one. 2-on-1 the other way. Chance here. Snuffed out as Gooley got in, but the Catamounts said no. Good recovery by Vermont. Stole away Brochu. Brochu dangles in deep. Tries to pull it through and does on the forehand. On the wall, Back for Brooke George. George couldn't handle that one. It was at her feet. And the Catamounts will have to chase. Cleach. Wrong pass ahead for Brochu. Una Havana net. Havana protects on the forehand all the way around the horn. Leaves it for Hemp on the wall. Brochu behind the net. Kokovic. Looking for a deflection out in front. Skoda was there. Now Hemp crisscrosses with Havana. Havana ducks the shoulder, pulls back to the forehand, and scores! Una Havana dances off the half wall, fires it home, and it's 2-0 Vermont.
Just smart play from Havana here. And we mentioned she's kind of been all over the ice throughout this game, but really just picks her head up after she gets this puck. Protects it well, brings it to the middle of the ice, and low, just over that left pad, under the glove, quick release, and through some traffic too. It's a big goal for Havana.
Now, Brochu standing right at the top of that blue paint, and as you mentioned that first period, you know, if Lavender's seen it, she saved it. So, Catamounts making a little more concerted effort to put some bodies in front of that blue paint and crash the net a bit, and it's resulted in both goals. First on a rebound by Brooke George, now a turnover here. O'Hara turns the corner and fires. That never got through. In a body out front, Jarvis had her pocket picked from behind by O'Hara. Hetman trying to work it in deep. O'Hara digs it free. Kokovic wide now for Retram. Retram a little bit too far on the drop pass. Came out of the zone, so they got to get onside. 10:40 left to play. Second period. Catamounts have struck twice here. As Una Havana picks up the Catamounts' second goal. Garrity sent that one wide. Back in lane, Maxson with a drive. That's blockered aside all the way around to Podine off the bench, able to keep it in. Maxson working 1-on-2 in the corner. Mespled comes to help. Mespled backs it up. Maxson out of the reach of her on the wraparound from the point. Lloyd Howe trying to let that one go. Now she gets it back with a backhander, lifts it over the crossbar. And that was kind of an excuse me puck coming back to her. Podine back in her own end. Lloyd Howe from the split. Across the line with Matson going to the front of the net. Gets it back to Lloyd Howe. Kicked it off, just sticked wide. Kind of got into the feet of the defender, McGillis. And Lloyd Howe just couldn't or Matson couldn't poke it home. Brooke George in deep after dumping it in. Delorier had one of the biggest goals for Vermont last season, an overtime game winner in the playoffs. Delorier out in front. Brooke George again through traffic, jammed in front, rebounds loose, and they score! No, they don't. Referee initially pointed, then waved it off.
You like the tenacity right there in front of the net, but looked like they just whistled it.
9:02 left to play in the second period. Catamounts have struck twice. We'll step aside here from Vermont. Fieldhouse, 2-0. Vermont in the lead on the St. Mike's Purple Knights. Rob Ryan, Owen Gunn on this Saturday afternoon. We even got a little taste of fall weather last night into today as we head into hockey. We'll be back in the 70s during the week, but it's almost like, hey, we're starting hockey today. Let's dial it down to 60.
Yeah, I was in Montpelier last night for a high school football game, and it was amazing how quickly it just cooled down. Gotta have extra layers for sure.
Wilkin had to go off her stick and out of play, or rather out of the zone. Wilkin from Halifax, Nova Scotia, wearing 71 for the Catamounts, spins away from one here. Wilkin in from the circle, a shot. Rebound is corralled and saved by Lavender. Well, that's an underrated save right there, as she was able to kick that back into her rather than leave a rebound.
Yeah, just get the paddle out after a nice right pad save, and mean, you look at those 2 goals Vermont's had, nothing that she could have really done about either of them. First one was a rebound into a wide open net. Second one was a quick snapshot with a screen in front of the net, but that's what it's going to take to beat a goalie that's playing as well as she is.
Face-off win. Dianzaris sends it wide. Pody deflected on the way through. Havana got a piece of it. Lavender stayed square and made a terrific save. Here's Brochu. Chipped, loose, backhand, score! Skoda jams it home from the top of the blue paint, and the Catamounts take a 3-0 lead.
And you mentioned the top of the blue paint. That was the area that Vermont's really going to have to own to get it past Lavender. And here you see Skoda kind of go into the dirty area. She takes a shove afterwards, but you got to take a hit to make a play sometimes. And a big goal there. Let's make it 3-0.
So Skoda's on the board, one of the newcomers from Montreal, Quebec, playing a little closer to home than she was at RPI. Pody. 2 shots on goal in this period so far for St. Mike's. Cleach has stopped them both. We haven't had to say her name much, but Zoe Cleach getting her first Division I action out there. In that first kind of 4 seconds, had that little one hopper. Here's a chance. And Retram, what a save made by Lavender. Boy, Retram sneakily got behind everybody. Ended up walking it off that left side. Brooke George for Retram. Retram looks, finds Zarconi off her heel. Rebound lifted high by O'Hara. She tried to roof it.
That was a really nice idea by Retram to find Zarconi for that initial shot, and then it kind of bounced right to O'Hara, and she probably wants that one back.
7:28 left to play. The Catamounts have tallied 3 here in this middle frame and have a 3-0 lead. Back to live action. Catamounts. Hemp works it down low from the split. Into the middle, Lloyd Howe. Back to the point for Hemp. Natson leaves it for Lloyd Howe. Sharp angle, trying to jam job. That's sealed off by Lavender. Kokovic from the point. The split. Taps back Kokovic. Quickly across now for Hemp. Hemp makes a move around one, drops it down low, trying to get it back to the split of the backhand, and they score! It sneaks through Lavender, and the Catamounts now lead 4-0.
Yeah, Hemp kind of with a nice move here, protects the puck really well. That give and go that we talked about, that's what started it. It looks like Hemp, after the split, backhanded it. It's like Hemp got a piece of it. It's going to be her goal.
So the Cats have exploded for 4 here in the second. And have a 4-0 lead. Podium across the line. Stops, works it back to Delorier. Delorier into the high slot, looking for deflection by Wilkin. Wilkin just couldn't reel it in with one hand. Lawrence backs it up for Dianzaris. Dianzaris trying to push it ahead. That was blocked away. Purple Knights will be off sides here.
We've seen things really open up in this second period for Vermont, just kind of bearing down on their scoring chances, being a lot more opportunistic than they were in the first period. And as you mentioned, Coach Bloomer, kind of making sure everybody gets involved. So all 5 forward lines get some quality ice time.
High slot poked away. St. Mike's trying to generate something here as Quinn. St. Mike's was put on their heels in that first, outshot 16-2, but it's been an ambush here with a 4-goal second so far for Vermont. Brochu in from the circle, the shot deflected off a body and wide. So Hemp picks up the goal. Misplen will likely pick up an assist. Brochu dangling along, surrounded by a trio of purple sweaters, buried in the corner. Puck pops free to Brooke George. George, with a lot of time and space, dials it back to Zarconi. Zarconi back to George. Now Brochu looking for a deflection on the far post. Nothing there. Zarconi shakes one. Turns and drops it down low. Skoda was wiped down at the front of the net. That allows the puck to come to Brochu. Reverses course for Skoda. Back to the point for George. Brooke George. Back for Skoda. Skoda fires. Save made. May have gone off the outside of the post after Lavender made that save, and a big hit in the corner, and that'll cost. And Skoda will head to the penalty box as she's working on her own personal Gordie Howe hat trick.
Well, she took the hit when she scored the goal, so she's been a part of a lot of the physicality here in this game, but one kind of happened in the near side corner, so a little tough to see it, but
Vermont, number 93, 2 minutes for hitting from behind.
So the check from behind. Josie Hemp opened the scoring. Misplen and Lloyd Howe picked up an assist. That was part of the last goal at 13:09. Skoda from Brochu and Dianzaris at 11:45. Rhoda Havana had the second goal from Hemp and Skoda. So Skoda's got it all. She got the penalty, the assist, and the goal. Not a bad debut here in Burlington in this exhibition matchup for Skoda. O'Hara across the line. Catamount shorthanded now for the next 140.
Hemp there getting aggressive on the penalty kill. Look what she's brought here in this second period.
Lewis steps in to hammer that one in deep. Siddell will try and break out. Fires one off the stick of Lewis. Fitzgibbon. Lifted wide. Hetman couldn't play it. Hartnell in. Hartnell squeezed off by Hemp. Josie Hemp. Kokovic. And back out to center. Fitzgibbon almost gave it up to O'Hara. Hetman able to take that off the stick. Worked wide now for Jarvis. Jarvis backhands it in deep. Until recently, Bree Jarvis's former team of BFA St. Albans had won almost all of the Vermont State Girls High School Hockey Championships, going back 20-some-odd years. Essex had mixed in a few. And Burlington Colchester finally got one just a year ago. Misplen, good penalty killing here. Julia Misplen with a takeaway. In, fires, blocked aside with the stick of Lavender.
Good aggressive play from Misplen there down low after the shot opportunity, eating some more time off the clock.
4 seconds left on the penalty kill for Vermont. It's been a good one. Nice cannonball move there by Lloyd Howe to get between the player and the puck. Out of the box is Skoda. And the Catamounts have successfully once again killed off the penalty. Long pass ahead. Wilkin. Wilkin in. 2-on-1. Fires. And a save made by Lavender. Oh, she got it past Lavender. Just didn't have the right angle toward the net. Lavender got a little bit enough of it to steer it wide. Dianzaris from the point. Wilkin weaving through traffic, hauled down. Play continues. Brooke George. Deloria. Back up to George at left point. Poke checked away from her. Good defensive challenge there by McDonald. McDonald working one-on-one. McDonald throws a shot. Cleach makes the save, and she hangs on.
Cleach hadn't seen rubber for a little while, so good for her to get that one, and controls the rebound well also.
Catamounts out shooting St. Mike's 36-4. They've got a 4-0 lead here with 2:08 left to play in the second. Underway. It's always funny to kind of think of hockey and basketball as the winter sports. They start so early in the spring, but soccer already well underway. Catamounts back in the top 10 coming off their national champion. You know, this University of Vermont having so much to do as Retram's in. Retram alone, save made, and sticked aside. Lavender with another terrific chance. Boy, Retram's got to feel a little snake bitten at this point. Start to take a little personal from Lavender.
Great idea, though, trying to get her moving side to side. She couldn't find the 5-hole that time for Retro.
O'Hara chipped it up. To the point, but not out. St. Mike's keeps it in, but just kind of the way the community has kind of glommed onto that Catamount team and just soccer in general in this area. It's always been obviously popular, but the results have been unbelievable watching UVM kind of carry that through the community in the last 2 seasons as they kept getting deeper and deeper into the NCAA playoffs, finally winning the whole thing last year.
And the games this year have been really exciting. A lot of nail biters where they just kind of find a way in the end, but great to see them keeping the undefeated run going this season.
Well, that is how they won it last year, kind of the cardiac Catamounts, no doubt. Brochu dropped pass, quick shot, Skoda lifted it just wide. Back out to the point, Kokovic, now Hemp. Hemp around the horn, all the way back out now Kokovic, right back for Hemp along the wall. Brochu, Una Havana covering Kokovic and Hemp's point. Now she'll get back in on the offense. Hemp stops it on the way out. Josie Hemp trying to center it. Take it away, and Jarvis can skate out to center. Angles one wide. Kokovic. This one ladled in. Julia Muspled first to it. With no other pro franchises within 90 or so minutes from here in Montreal or 3 hours in Boston, it is the University of Vermont that is kind of the heartbeat for athletics, and you see that as teams continue to start to have success, the crowds continue to grow. And we'll talk about one of the players that helped out on the women's hockey side here in this second intermission, but we've played 2 here in Vermont. Catamounts out shooting St. Mike's 37-5, and they've got a 4-0 lead at the end of 2 here in Vermont.
All 5 lines have been moving the puck. I mean, it's mostly been 4 lines playing, but you gotta like the way the chemistry's taking shape.
Josie Hemp drops it behind the net. Taken by St. Mike's Siddell. Siddell turned around. Wilkin takes this away. Back to the point for Hemp. Hemp hammers the heart around. To Laurier. Up the wing, Kokovic pinches in. Wilkin there to support. St. Mike's having a hard time getting out of the zone. Good forecheck by the Catamounts. Kokovic. Back to Hemp. Hemp angles one off of Wilkins' pads. Maxson able to feather it through. Hemp once again at the point. Backhands into the high slot, deflected by Delorier, saved by Lavender, and eventually cleared by St. Mike's. And a penalty upcoming. What happened? A cross check. On whom? Delorier? Must have been behind the play.
Yeah. Vermont number 19, 2-minute minor for a cross check.
Well, Catamounts to the kill.
So an opportunity here for Prendergast. I mean, there's the old cliche, your goaltender needs to be your best penalty killer, so perhaps she'll see some rubber here in her first period of college hockey.
Face-off win by Vermont, and Zaris got tangled up the referee. Puck stays along the wall. St. Mike's 0 for 2 in the game on the power play. Prendergast seals the post on that shot. St. Mike's gains control. Now trying to set up this power play, trailing 5-0. Boychuk had that go off the body of Lloyd Howe. Bodine behind the net. Backhanded out in front by Garrity. Catamounts Lloyd Howe shoved to the ground. Play continues.
Bench wanted a call there.
This is not really a check if you just shove them not into the boards, I suppose. Lifted out of the zone. McGillis to skate. 1 minute down in this power play. 1 minute to go. Jarvis on the far side. Had it chopped away from her. She'll peel off on a line change, and the Catamounts will take it. Off the wall, but not out. Kept in by Weathery. Catamounts regain and clear.
So I said it might be an opportunity for Prendergast to see some rubber, but the Catamounts defense is proven stingy here.
Brooke George right back the other way. Hartnell trying to lift it in deep. Good support by Brochu as Zarconi held her up. Zarconi takes off the window and out. Lavender ahead now for Fitzgibbon. Fitzgibbon across the line with Hartnell. Trying to drop it to her. Stepping in front of that was Kaylee Lewis, and the Catamounts send it right back out. Hetman across for Siddell. Stolen by Lewis, shorthanded. Lewis in, worked wide, scores! Kaylee Lewis gets Shorty, 6-0.
And we were talking about earlier in the period, it's that glove side. Lewis had a chance earlier where she tried to go short side. This time, she sees the glove side. She picks that corner, calls her shot, and gets on the board here. Great selling afterwards, but explosiveness, quick release. That Lewis-O'Hara Retrum line continues their strong play.
That came just after the penalty expired, so it'll be an even strength goal. All the Catamount goals tonight have been. O'Hara here centering out in front, looking for Lewis in that. Just past her stick. Kokovic makes a move in the circle to the backhand. Pass saved by Lavender, cleared aside by the defensive McGillis. Back to the point now for Kokovic. Kokovic into the feet of O'Hara. Handcuffed her a bit. McGillis takes. Works it up the wall for Jarvis. Jarvis to Garrity. Garrity has herself guided off the puck, and the Catamounts turn it right back up ice. So O'Hara across the line. O'Hara waits. Lewis from the point to drive, and that's blockered aside by Lavender. Lewis looking, trying to find Misplet cutting. That was blocked away by the defense. Julia Misplet. Had it played away from her. She gets it right back out at center ice. Julia Misplet wearing white tape on the stick plate of a white stick. And it has been a long time since I've seen the white tape being in use.
Black tape just gives you such an edge. It's easier to kind of conceal the puck a little bit.
There's some other players using the white tape, but her white stick centering pass out in front of Misplet, trying to angle it back into the middle on a give and go. That was broken up. Both checked off the stick, but Brooke George right there to back it up. Misplet lets this one go. Lloyd Howe trying to attack first. Zarconi pinching in from the point. And that's what Vermont does. Just constant defenders on the half wall pinching in. And big hit on the far side, and that'll cost as Brooke George is wiped out. And the Catamounts will go to the power play.
Yeah, that was a pretty rough play there right along the boards on the part of McDonald. And
St. Michael's, number 17, 2-minute minor for a cross check.
So McDonald for cross-checking. Catamounts 0 for 2 on the power play will look to make it a 7-0 game when we come back to Gutterson Fieldhouse with 12:26 left to play here in the third. Back at Gutterson Fieldhouse, Rob Rhino and Gunn. Great to be with you on this Saturday afternoon.
I think everybody's really excited for October 4th to arrive and to see them kind of put it into action first time against another opponent. So it'll be fun to watch.
And they get underway also in a couple of weeks. First weekend October, or
Correct. Yeah, the
one
4th.
game in September, the 4th as well. There's Stephen Wheeler, head coach of the Catamounts, with Director of Athletics Jeff Schulman, taking in the women's game. I'm sure there's a practice looming for the boys.
Oh, yeah.
Back out to the point as the power play is on for the Catamounts. So for their previous 2, they've got 3 shots on goal in the power play. Hep now drops it down for Kokovic. Now back to Josie Hemp straight away. Fires through traffic. That's deflected wide. Brochu out in front of the net. Catamounts getting good traffic in front of the net, either with Skoda or Brochu on these power plays. It's Skoda now that sets up camp. Quick shot. Lavender able to make the save. Good job by St. Mike's to kind of keep everyone on the periphery there. Skoda set up at the top of the crease, which was moved off.
Yeah, just, they know the name of the game for getting goals too, just kind of getting that presence in front of that. But St. Michael's, like you mentioned, doing a good job boxing out on that sequence there. That's the area you got to win your battles, right in front of the net. It's the name of the game.
McGillis stood up Kaylee Lewis. Puck ends up coming back to Lewis, and she'll get it back to the point. Zarconi as they fan out the umbrella on this power play. Redstrom trying to drop it down low. Lewis banks it off the wall for O'Hara. O'Hara misplayed that one, but Lewis is right there. Eventually back into the right wing corner. Right post now. Point for Tianzaris. Now Redstrom. Lewis. Zarconi. Into the high slot. Puck is loose. Save made as Redstrom had a nice chance, and Lavender kept the pad down. Centering pass off the crossbar. As O'Hara unleashed a one-timer, got it over the shoulder of Lavender, but couldn't beat the bar.
It's a pretty passing play right there.
Zarconi through traffic wide. Redstrom takes this. O'Hara again. O'Hara, another save by Lavender. Zarconi. Straight away. Tianzaris. O'Hara chopping at it. Boy, she's a little snake bitten. As she'll head off as the Catamounts nearly cashed in twice on that power play. Just on O'Hara's stick alone. McDonald holding up Zarconi. McDonald fresh out of the penalty box, almost went right back in. Kokovic gets it back, dangles, tries to spin toward the empty net, steered just wide as it went off the skate of Siddell. Kokovic again, out front, bats it off the outside of the net. Wrapped in low, Matson, Kokovic, backhands it back in. Not hard to see why Kokovic's one of the returning scorers for this Catamount team off that blue line.
Great playmaking ability she has.
And that has been a point of emphasis in the sport, really, I think, since coming out of that 2005 lockout. Down low chancer for the Catamounts, never got through. Rebound, score! Lloyd Howe cashes in from the chaos, and it's 7-0 Vermont.
She's going to pick up the loose change here. Puck kind of finds her. Good movement by Miss Bleed to put it in front. And it's loose for a little bit. Turnaround shot by Lloyd Howe. Low, hard, and on the ice. Sometimes that's a smart display. That time she gets it to go to extend the lead.
McKenna Lloyd Howe picking up the goal in her first appearance for the Catamounts, and giveaway here. Wilkin almost walked in and split the D, but I've liked what Lloyd Howe's given Vermont. She's one of those players that just always seems to be in the right place at the right time. The puck finds her because she's in position.
Good player knows where the puck's going to be. So it's a great attribute to have.
Time ticks down to final 8:45 of this third. Catamounts in control, 7-0. They have dominated pretty much from pillar to post. Could not get the goal scoring going in that first, as this will be an icing with 8:36 left to play. But 4 in the second, 3 so far here in the third, 7-0.
They've really opened it up and just continue to get everybody involved in this game, which is good.
Slight delay as the officials find an errant stick and figure out which bench to give it to. Brochu to take the faceoff, wins it moving forward. Brochu in from a sharp angle, save made by Lavender. She hugs the post. Lavender's faced now 49 shots on goal in this game thus far. 7-0, Vermont in the lead, a little over midway through the third.
Let
Have we ever done 4? I don't think we've ever done 4 in a day. Get somewhere. Quick shot off the face off. Save made by Lavender. She's able to. Have we ever done 4? I don't think we've ever done 4 in a day. Not out of the realm of possibility once the playoffs get here, but you will quickly learn the back and forth kind of labyrinth of path between here and Patrick Gymnasium across the way.
Labyrinth is the best way to describe it.
Yeah. It's always an adventure. 16, entering 17th year of being here on campus, and every time I learn a new pathway to get somewhere. Quick shot off the face off, save made by Lavender. She's able to squeeze it, hang on. We haven't talked much about her because she hasn't seen a shot yet, but Lily Prendergrass is taking a few laps around her net to stay loose, back on the other end. Face-off wing, Dianzaris sends it wide. Catamounts dominating in every facet here. Took a while to get the goal scoring, but once the floodgates have opened, they've now tallied 7. Garabin picked the pocket of Brochu and threw it in deep. Catamounts they'll quickly recover. I think early on there were some jitters and maybe some, as you mentioned, just kind of getting the chemistry down. But a couple of errant passes by Vermont as Havana drops this one back, but also, a couple of trying to do too much with the puck, and that seems to really have settled down since about midway through that first. As a shot here by Havana, another save by Lavender, who, despite having given up 7 goals, has been terrific.
Terrific, and for Vermont, just to your point, like the chemistry's been getting better, and I think a lot of it has had to do with them simplifying their game. Making that extra pass, not trying to, do too much, and it's led to some good results.
Redstrom on the forecheck. Forces McGillis to swing it back around the net. Good dog and forecheck there by Redstrom. Redstrom taps that one back to O'Hara. O'Hara across the line. Carries in on the back end. O'Hara all the way around to the half wall. Centered out in front. No one was home, though. Redstrom on the forecheck, took it away from McGillis. McGillis battling now with Redstrom in the left wing corner. Kaylee Lewis comes over for a look. Jabs and pokes as to a side back. Puck squirts free behind the net. We're going to be picked up there by St. Mike's, and the Purple Knights are back out to center. Lexi Soon working 1-on-3, eventually gave the puck up to O'Hara. O'Hara from her knees lifts it out to center. Picked up there by Fitzgibbon. Bree Jarvis was waiting for that, but it was pickpocketed by Zarconi, who's across the line. Zarconi in deep, dropped it on back to Julia Mespled. Mespled battling, takes it off the end wall to herself. Julia Mespled avoids another. Mespled has been a fun player to watch. Had a frustrating early part of her career here at UVM, losing a whole season to a knee injury, then kind of coming back from that the next year. Had some other dings and bruises as Matson's wiped out from the side, trying to fire that shot in. Kokovec. Took her a long time in her career to get that first goal. And it wasn't for lack of chances. It was one of those frustrating things for Julia where, you know, watching her play, always being so close to finding the back of the net and just not. Shot through traffic goes wide, but she's always in the heart of things, mixing it up. And for a player of her size, that's important. Quick shot blocker to side by Lavender as Hemp snuck down for the point.
Yeah, it's always tough sometimes when, you know, the bounces aren't going your way. You can sort of get in your head a little bit. But good for Mespled to really get a lot of confidence from some strong play here today and getting on the score sheet. Big for her.
Terrific skater, great vision on the ice. And all that in a 5'2" bundle at center. Kokovec awaits the pass ahead. She takes, crisscrosses with Delorier, drops it for Cece. Cece fires off the skate of Hartnell.
And has shown some good chemistry with a young player in Lloyd Howe as well. Like the way those two have played together. And then the grad student Darcy Madsen has had some looks in this game, but would expect her to be a factor as well throughout the season.
Kokovec with a nice step in across the line with Lawrence. Lawrence driving the net, shot goes off a body. Lawrence picks up the rebound from behind the net, dials it on back to Wilkin. Wilkin with a shot, rebound, bounced right over Kokovec's stick, where she would have had an empty net to try and fire home into. Icing here on St. Mike's. Catamounts out, shooting. The Purple Knights 56-5.
And Lavender, I mean, you know, that you wouldn't necessarily think with the scoreboard, but like as we've said throughout, she's done a heck of a job. 49 saves. It's been a busy day for her.
Maya Lawrence in the corner, trying to drop it to Delorier. Delorier backs it into the traffic. Four in the corner trying to dig the puck free. One fallen stick finally picked up by the Purple Knights. Now Lawrence taps it back to the point. Dianzaris to Zarconi. Gets it right back to Dianzaris. Fires a shot, never got through. Rebounds loose in the slot. Dianzaris gets it back and fires wide. Delorier. Dianzaris. Shot one low, kick aside Lavender. Rebound on the backhand goes wide as Delorier had a good look, but a little too high out in the slot to steer that home. Centering pass. Wilkins snuck in. Slinus had a nice period. Delorier. If you think that 5'2" Julia Mespled is, Wilkins scores through the 5-hole to make it 8-0.
And the floodgates opening here. It's a great shot by another first-year forward out of Halifax, Nova Scotia, Wilkin. She kind of picks her head up, lets this rip, and this goes under the arm of Lavender. That might be one that she wants back, but nonetheless, a big confidence booster for Wilkin. A lot of velocity behind that shot.
Mentioned Julia Mespled at 5'2", Cece Delorier 5 foot, even. And that's what's listed. So you see a really good player in Vermont for BFA St. Albans. Mentioned that. May have been a teammate of Bree Jarvis at one time as well. 8-0 Vermont in the lead, final 2.5. Here from Gutterson Fieldhouse. Brooke George lifts this one, catches the glass but stays in play. Rochu wraps it around to the near side. Hillary Wilkin picking up a little taste of goal scoring here. Catamounts will be offside. And that'll bring us to our final media timeout of the afternoon. All Catamounts all the time, 8-0 in the lead, late third. It's 8-0 with 2:16 left to play. Rob Ryan, Owen Gunn, great to be with you on this opening night for hockey. And it feels a little early. I feel like we're somewhere within a week of typically starting preseason play. And obviously regular season doesn't get underway until the weekend of the 4th, but it's good to have hockey back.
Absolutely. And, you know, for an exhibition game, I've been impressed with the crowd that's turned out. And they've been given a lot to cheer about from the Vermont side.
Brooke George crashing into the corner. Along the end wall, George pulls away with the puck. George lost the handle on that one. Sent back in. Retro. Off the skate of a Purple Knight, turned right back around. Retro. And at this point with an 8-0 lead, if you're Prendergrass, you just don't want to be the one to give up the goal here on the first shot she thinks. So she might have some extra tension despite the score rating. Fitzgibbon avoids the forechecking of Retro. And the Purple Knights are out through center. Ray Jarvis nudged ahead, but a bit too far for Hetman. Hetman and Kokovic battle. Kokovic steps in front, gets enough from Julia Masplet. Masplet up the wing. Final minute of play here from Gutterson. Matson stays on side to get the cross corner dump, taps it for Julia Masplet. Masplet ran into a Purple Knight defender. Fitzgibbon trying to kick it free. Hetman's there as well. Pulled out by Matson. Centering pass goes through everyone. It comes all the way back out for the take by Lloyd Howe. Lloyd Howe's got a goal. It's been a minute, but no multiple goal scores at all. 8 different scores.
It's a good sign for the depth of the team, though.
It is one of the bugaboos from last year, trying to figure out who's going to be able to step up and score that goal. And obviously, you'd love to have that one person. Is Lloyd Howe on a break. Lloyd Howe in to the forehand, does not beat the buzzer, nor does she beat Lavender. One final great save by Lavender at the horn, and the Catamounts win this exhibition by a final of 8-0, out-shooting the Purple Knights 57-5 in what was a dominating performance from pillar to post, and all 8 of the goals coming 4 in the second, 4 in the third. So it took a minute to get to the back of the net, but once it happened for Jim Plumer's team, it kept happening, and that's a good sign.
And the confidence just grows as the game got on. The team got better, and you know, good to get contributions up and down the lineup as well for the Vermont team. About as good of a start as you can draw up for this season for them.
Catamounts win this one by a final of 8-0. Look to open their season against Penn State right here at Gutterson Fieldhouse a couple of weekends from now, and they hope to bottle up some of these goals and put it back out on the ice for real when they do it here in just a couple of weeks against Penn State.